Hello, LifeSite friends. Jim Hale with you here. You know, it seems like every single day we are hearing stories about Christians being persecuted, pro-lifers being persecuted, and I got to tell you, I received a heartbreaking message this weekend from our dear friend Mark Lee Dixon of East Texans for Life. Mark Lee is leading the national effort to try to get towns and cities to sign on to become sanctuary cities for the unborn. Absolutely heroic work. It's a huge grassroots effort going on across the country. Mark Lee texted me on Saturday to tell me this story about a TV reporter at a network affiliate in Nebraska who also happens to be the news director of this newsroom, who was fired for the work that she was doing at her church on this petition, having nothing to do with her work as a news director. She learned on Friday she was fired, and right now we are so honored to have Melanie Standiford joining us now to tell us her story. Melanie, first of all, I just want to tell you how terribly sorry that I am to hear about this, and everyone here on our staff. Sadly, it's something that we see all too much of now. So Melanie, if you could just tell us what happened.
Thank you so much, first of all, Jim, for having me. And I appreciate all of the kind words. Well, I was the news director for a great media station in North Platte, as you know. And on Friday, I was asked to come in. I had the day off because I was taking a day off because I kind of do a little bit of everything: news director, reporter, anchor, producer, you know, all of that. And I had taken the day off because I was going to be anchoring and producing the weekend shows and even doing some weather next week. And so they asked me to come into the station at 6 o'clock on a Friday, and I was told that it was be my last day with the station because they had seen something. They were made aware that I had circulated a petition in my church and my community and for practicing partisan politics. And so what I'd like people to understand is, and I kind of told you this before, that in this, if you count my grandchildren, I've been in this community for 8 generations on both sides of my family. And so it's no secret in this small community of Curtis, Nebraska, the Easter city of Nebraska, by the way, it's no secret that I'm pro-life. I'm a Lutheran. I am active in my church. And so everybody knows I'm pro-life. Everybody, you know, I didn't think, I guess that I was practicing partisan politics. To me, I was active in my church and doing something that everybody in this small community already knows that I am passionate about. But I was not reporting on it. But I was let go because somebody in our community had reached out to a liberal newspaper on the eastern side of the state in Omaha, or they reached out to them. I don't know the facts of that, but somehow a story was done with a community member who is pro-choice. And my name was dropped as, oh, by the way, did you know this news director was doing this? And when that hit the press, so to speak, it went across every newspaper in Nebraska that this news director in North Platte, Nebraska, was circulating a pro-life petition.
Well, Melanie, let's talk about journalistic ethics, because you told me you've been in that job for 5 years. You obviously know your community quite well. How have you handled your Christian beliefs with being a news director? How have you done that dance?
So I always make sure I report both sides of a story. If both sides were available. And if you ever look at this piece that got me fired, you'll see that they clearly didn't do that in that story. Yeah. So we know what journalism looks like. We know the ethics, and we know that you tell both sides. And I will tell you that I had the pro-life. She is the chain. She does the pro-life chain in North Platte. She contacted me this weekend and said that she thought I was pro-choice because of my fair reporting. Because I always quote like the ACLU or one of these other outfits, Planned Parenthood or whatever, to tell their side alongside with the other. And sometimes I even have other people read my work before it goes on to make sure that it's not biased in any way.
Right. So you were able to as a news director to kind of say, oh, okay, we always want to be fair. That's the word that we always hear. Well, how do they justify, Melanie, terminating you? Like, what could they say? Like this is your private life. You weren't. This wasn't a news event. You weren't. This is not something that you were covering. How can they do this?
That's a good question. It really is. I've been thinking about it a lot for the last couple days. They said that they've had this talk with me before. Never, was reprimanded or written up. They knew how I believe. I think the biggest fear, and I don't know. I wish I had those answers. I do know that they justify it as saying that in the handbook it says you can't practice partisan politics. Again, I don't think I was doing that. To me, this isn't partisan. This is my church.
Well, that's absolutely right. And, when it comes to that, I mean, there are laws in Nebraska, are they not, saying that you cannot punish a person for their private religious beliefs?
Right, for sure. And I don't know how that's going to boil down. I really don't. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how that'll all work out. I just know that right now I gave my heart to that job. Yep. Like, I just absolutely love the people. I love them. And I cared about them, and I wanted to tell their story. And the people of North Platte, the ones that there's a few that are like, oh, good, she's gone. But for the most part, people are like rallying behind me and saying, you were our voice. And that's my hometown, yeah. So to speak. It's hard to find employees as is. And so I don't know what I think once my name hit the paper and it said Melanie Standiford, news director at KNOP-TV in North Platte, circulated petition in Curtis, they wanted to divorce themselves from that immediately. And it didn't matter.
Yeah, well, it's not like you were out on the street doing this anywhere. I mean, you were in your church this is a Missouri Synod Lutheran church. It's a pro-life Christian denomination. I mean, would a similar action be taken against a pro-choice person, on your staff who was doing something, at their Unitarian church or in their community organizing or taking a stand for LGBT rights or something like that?
Well, I don't think so, because I don't think anybody would complain about it.
Right. Yeah, well, are there people on your reporting staff there at that station who are openly pro-choice?
That's possible. But again, as a professional, as the news director of the team, I didn't ever ask them that. Right. I wasn't doing hey, you have to tell me if you're pro-choice or pro-life. I was being a professional. Right. And another thing, the interesting point is this happened almost 2 months ago. Nothing came of it. There was no reporting. I wasn't standing on the side of the street by a pro-life sign saying, look what I'm doing. And I had 11,000 followers on my social media page, and no one knew that I was doing this. So it was very private. It wasn't until my name came out in that paper that I was fired immediately. Wow. So there's no grounds for that I was letting that influence me as a news director.
Well, clearly not. You had a high level of ethics and a high level of professionalism but that wasn't extended to you. Well, I'll tell you what, Melanie, you're about to find out what LifeSite News is all about and what the LifeSite News family is all about. We are the largest pro-life news organization in the world, and we have a life funder. It's already set up for you. We're going to put that address up on the screen right now. So you can read more about Melanie's story and help her. I mean, Melanie, you have 13 kids. Is that? I mean, this is a big blow to you and your family.
My children are learning a great lesson from this. I'm going to try not to get emotional, but I'm going to tell you, my kids are so proud of me right now. They're sad. My 10-year-old was the first one to catch me at the door when I came home Friday. And he said, Mom, are you okay? And I said, I'm okay. And he said, are you going to get another job? And I said, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to do right now, honey. And he said, does that mean you get to stay home? And I could tell that this little boy has been sitting in the background as I work
for this community and give all of me to this community and still try to be a mom and a wife and a church member and all these different things, that they were asking me to completely lose my identity. In fact, the moment I walked out of Gray Media, out of KNOP in North Platte, I don't think I made it to my car and my existence was erased. Yeah. I mean, I'm Melanie Standiford, NBC Nebraska News 2. I have said that phrase so many times. Yeah. And 11,000 followers didn't get a goodbye. They didn't get anything. The page was just gone.
Yep. Well, this is the world we live in today. If you stand up for innocent human life, then you are the enemy now as far as corporate America is concerned, as far as the mainstream media is concerned. And, you know, it's just so sad. I mean, we're seeing, you know, examples like yours all too often now, Melanie. You know, we have the FBI raiding people's homes for you know, praying on the sidewalk in front of Planned Parenthood. But the other part of this story is that now you can speak out. It's like what's happened to you is a grave injustice. And I don't think we have heard the end of this story. We haven't heard the end of your story. You know, we have to fight back, and we're going to help you do that, Melanie.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, all I want to do, I don't understand. I don't understand. It's such a simple concept. I was knit in your womb. Yeah. A baby. It's a human being, and we're forgetting that they can't even speak for themselves. And all I want to do now, I mean, I have been silent. I have done the things in the background to do what I can for life. I marched. I don't think my employers know. I marched in Chicago. I marched in Washington, D.C. this year. That was never known. I am able to keep that separate, but I don't have to do that anymore. I get to stand up for what's right. I get to do what God wants us to have. You know, God is going to turn this terrible injustice into something great.
Well, you know what? Now you get to work in pro-life media, Melanie. Come and join us. You know, that's the thing. We need
a wonderful idea. So I may just have to take you up on that. That would be wonderful.
Yes. Well, let me tell you, I mean, I know it's been a really rough 72 hours for you here, but this is going to be a huge story. And you know, thank you so much for just taking the time with us and just telling us, you know, exactly what happened, because we never get the real story from, you know, the people who call themselves the news media out there, Melanie.
Right. And you know what? God doesn't need me. He doesn't need me at all. But you know what? I need him, and I'm going to do whatever I can to even if this situation saves one life, then it will not have been for naught. You know, I mean, it'll be something it'll be worth it.
Yes, it will. You know, the thing is, I'm often reminded, Father Altman, who's one of our dear friends, always tells us that, you know, we're called to live in this time. It's often awkward. It's uncomfortable. You know, I don't like going out and alienating all my neighbors either. But God has called us to live in this time. And if we can't stand up for the innocent human life, then, you know, who are we as a people? And you've done that. So thank you. Thank you so much for what you've done.
Thank you. And thank you for noticing. Thank you for, I mean, I don't need that. I don't need attention. I just thank you for making it possible for us to feel strong enough to keep doing that, because you're here as a support and a voice that is making a huge difference in the world. And thank you.
Okay, Melanie Standiford, gosh, I know it's been rough for you lately. Once again, I want to remind all of our viewers of that LifeFunder address that you see right there, lifefunder.com/help Melanie. And please go help her out. Her family needs the help. She needs the support. She's going to need legal support. We hope that you'll be able to fight this, Melanie, quite frankly, or just to know that all these people out there care and love you so much for what you've done.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it very much.
Okay, Melanie, God bless you. and please keep in touch with us. We're going to have to be, we're going to have to dispatch you out there to go cover some of these events for us now, hopefully.
Absolutely. I hope you call me. I hope you have me do that.
All right. God bless you, Melanie. Thank you.
God bless you as well. Thank you.